Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are really enjoying the podcast series I'm working on right now. It's all about technology. This month, we're analyzing the future of tech startups in the Caribbean. I'm sitting down with the founder of SiliconCaribe, Ingrid Riley. The organization has a Dow Jones syndicated blog, roster of events, and more. Let's get started. Right. Well, Ingrid Riley, thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited for this conversation. I think when we think about tech startups and where they're founded and where they are, a lot of people think the West Coast, but nice to know that it's happening in the Caribbean.
Of course, it's happening in Caribbean, and it's happening everywhere, but definitely here as well. With sun, sea, and startups. You know what I'm saying? Sun, sea, and tech. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So right now you're in Jamaica. Which part? Which parish?
In Kingston. I'm in the capital.
Nice. And you're in between Kingston and New York typically, right?
Yeah, typically, yeah.
Nice. And so what have you found since you've started SiliconCaribe 15 years ago? What have you found?
You know, I found that there are a lot of Caribbean people and businesses that are leveraging technology and doing some amazing things. And whether it is something that is nascent to their particular country, or it's important to the region, or it's actually, doing some interesting things for the world as well, that we're just as smart and just as interesting. And most importantly, one of the missions behind SiliconCaribe is to actually change the narrative about what is the Caribbean, and that people see that, we're going digital and we're doing some amazing things with digital that's way beyond the beach.
Yeah. And what was your motivation in the first place to start this?
I was actually running a interactive agency with a business partner of mine, Suzanne Leaquey. So two women, first interactive agency run by two Caribbean women. And because of my background in media, I was an investigative reporter actually. And wow. And people kept coming to me either to ask me stuff about what is happening in the industry, or to tell me stuff. And she says, Ingrid, why you don't start a blog? And I was like, what's that? So I took a weekend and learned about what a blog is. And then it started out as CaribbeanTechNews.com, and then I switched it over to SiliconCaribe. And so it was really out of just that need to curate information about what people were doing in this industry. And it was also somewhat selfish because we were in the industry and we wanted to know who else was doing some interesting things. And so the blog led to events, which led to a movement, which led to what we're doing now, which is basically a digital media and events business that's, again, focused on amplifying the Caribbean that's beyond the beach.
And what are some of the things that you guys are doing now that are innovative, different? I see you blogging a lot on Twitter about crypto lately and different ways to make money, to educate people in the Caribbean about the new ways to make money. Well, what are some of the innovative things that you guys are doing right now?
I mean, in the Caribbean, We're just doing a lot. I mean, I think particularly this year, we're going to see a lot of things popping in e-commerce, definitely in the fintech crypto space as well, in the remote work advent of things, and also women in tech. There's just been a lot of things brewing, and having been having front row seats to what's been going on for the past 15 years across the region and the diaspora. It's a kind of about time where entrepreneurs who may have cycled through one or two startups, they're actually, some of them have been successful, some of them have not. And so they've kind of like poured that knowledge and poured that network and poured, all of that stuff back into the ecosystem. And we're seeing where people, entrepreneurs are shifted to becoming, investors. They are shifting into, maybe different sectors, and they're solving some really interesting problems. I think we're in the Caribbean, the tech ecosystem is kind of what I call post-hype. Everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur, and, tech was sexy and all that. But I think what is going on, and everybody wanted to do something that was very American, because we have that in our faces a lot. But I think what is going on, which I'm very happy to see, is that we're solving our own problems and realizing that our problems are unique. They're worth solving. They're profitable in solving them. They can actually translate to the region and maybe even to the world. And so happy to see that entrepreneurs are growing. The investor community is growing. The connection with the diaspora is growing as well. So over the past 15 years, I'm still freaking excited, actually. It just gets better and better each year, as we go through our own cycles of growth. It just kind of gets better and better each year. So as usual, I'm always bullish on the Caribbean.
Always bullish. I love it.
Always.
Well, you talked a lot about the things that you have lots to talk about on the blog lately. So what are some of the favorite tech startups that you're seeing in the Caribbean in general?
I'm excited about WePay, which is out of the Caribbean, out of Trinidad, actually. And they just actually moved their headquarters to Jamaica. And of course, they're payments company trying to solve that massive pain point that we have in the region about just the simplicity of setting up a payment so you can, receive payments from your clients wherever they are, and just be able to do that quickly and cheaply, even to test or just simply go full on with a startup. They just recently opened up a neobank in the United States. They also are going to be hosting the US CEO of Binance, and of course, Binance is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world right now. And so how they're moving in terms of massaging that payment, e-commerce, crypto thing. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. I'm also bullish on. It's going to be a little bit crypto heavy. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, but. But it's actually the only women-led Caribbean crypto business and co-working space in the region. They're in the Bahamas. That's where we just had our Future of Caribbean Money conference that was virtual. We did a in-person part there at Crypto Isle in the Bahamas. They have some interesting things popping up as well. I am also bullish on this company called Carifty, right? NFTs is sexy. Again, I tell you, I'm there, right?
I love it. I mean, everyone's talking about it. Can't be mad at it.
But outside of that, in terms of ed tech, there's always Edufocal out of Jamaica. They came as a result of our events. They popped out from one of our events at Kingston Bay to Edufocal here in Jamaica. There is MD Link, which is in the med tech space, digital health and wellness space, and the list could go on. I mean, I actually have a people watch list and I have a startup watch list that I have a crap ton of data for the past 15 years, which nobody was going to get for free.
I'm not mad at that. That is absolutely correct.
But there's some really cool things happening in the region that has me excited, and I'm just happy to be a part of it all. That's really it. Yeah.
So in terms of how many visitors are visiting the website right now, how many people are you seeing?
You mean SiliconCaribe.com?
Yes, SiliconCaribe.
Right now, we're Dow Jones syndicated, and so we have stuff going out to around 80-something countries, and so on average, of a couple million. I mean, we've been kind of lax. I've been kind of lax in terms of growing our email subscriber base, a little bit over 20,000. Could be more. It's been a few years well, but this year we're gonna kind of pump things up and keep things going in terms of covering more news, getting more content on the blog, getting more content to our This Week in Caribbean Tech podcast, which we reopen next week. And then again, the thing that kind of put us on the map is just events and more events this year, and both from us as well as with our partners as well. So more work. That's all it really translates. There's more work.
I'm going to come back to the events in a second, but which countries are the most popular visitors to your site right now?
Definitely, I would say the United States, Usually from Jamaica is usually Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, because those are the ones that are most active. But the United States, Canada, UK, those guys, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'm starting to see some of those UK, Jamaica listeners popping up. I love it. Everyone's interested in tech right now. I think it's a hot topic for sure.
Not only that, but is that because again, we in the Caribbean and other places have known for a while that while Silicon Valley is great and that's somewhat of been a standard. The rest of the world, as I say, I can't remember the name of that gentleman. He talks about the rise of the rest, and so everybody knows that because of the dispersion of the internet and knowledge and the connections that it makes and the sharing of the knowledge, innovation is not no longer have a geographical boundary, and so innovation is happening everywhere, and so people are looking for deals and looking for entrepreneurs and startups and interesting things anywhere in the world that they can find them. And so, of course, it's happening here in the Caribbean as well. It's happening in the African continent as well. It's happening in Latin America. And so people are moving around and realizing that, oh, okay, let's see what's popping there. So that's it.
Yeah, and looking for ideas and
absolutely
trying to stretch their imagination as well. Great point. So with the events, right now we're kind of still in the pandemic, definitely still in the pandemic. There's so many different waves of what is happening. Now we have this new Omicron variant. How does that impact the event space that you're dealing with?
Here's the irony of things that it makes it easier because like what happened with Future of Caribbean Money, and we did one last year and we did one in 2020 as well. And we're just kind of like, because we primarily pretty much all of our events were of course in person. There was no pandemic. But it has somewhat made it easier to some extent and more difficult to some extent. Easier because you can choose a platform. You can pull together people because with Future of Caribbean Money, we had 42 speakers. We had 22 countries represented in its attendance as well, and so you can do that. But of course, with everything, there are always some sort of a technical issues or outages, or people have variations of internet connection or something like that. And of course, you have to market the hell out of it because, again, you're competing with other people who are having events as well. And so, you have to really be unique so you can carve out your attention space so people can actually come to your event. But it's easy for people to attend. We're doing this now by Zoom. You know what I mean? Yeah. We can connect and have a conversation and produce content that can then go and do, other things as well. So it's easier that way. And it is difficult because, again, we're approaching the second year of this panini, and it's people are kind of burnt out of just doing just this, right? Yeah. And so I think we're now at a point where people are trying hybrid, like we did with Future of Caribbean Money, or some people are just tired of just being online and tired of using Zoom. They want some, we're human beings. We're tactile human beings. We're meant to be social, and talk and network that way in person. So those are the pros and cons. But we kind of lean right now more into the pros and see how we can continue to create content that's of value to people and keep people connected to each other, so they can do some fantastic things to each other. So yeah. Just more, but not more, but more powerful. But we're probably doing a lot less events this year because we're kind of zoning in and focusing more on some key sectors. So yeah.
And while we're here talking about the events, you might as well just plug the ones that are coming up. Do you have any that you're excited about in the near future?
Man. So we started it last year, which is our top 50 Caribbean women in tech list. In fact, we open up the nominations on Monday at SiliconCaribe.com. And so we didn't get to do it last year, but we're definitely going to do an event around April. And we usually release the list in April to coincide with International Girls in ICT Day. And so we're going to put out our next top 50 list. and we're going to do an event. Chances are, I don't think Omicron or whatever other Greek letter that we get to by March will have gone.
Yeah.
So I think we will probably likely be doing that virtually. So, but I think it will be cool because we get to maybe hear from the women and we can connect the women together in that space. So, yeah.
And anyone can log on from anywhere, which is the one nice thing about having virtual events.
Absolutely. And I think and then the second one, well, we're definitely going to have another Future of Caribbean Money event, but we're not going to have it in December this time. We're going to bring it forward to November. December is a sacred time where everybody's somewhat winding down, or taking vacation and that kind of thing. So we're going to have it in November. We're going to announce new dates for that soon. And so, yeah, and then we're going to have some stuff with partners that we'll announce over along the years. Yeah. So we did a couple of things with Microsoft and Dell and Amazon last year. So we're likely to do more definitely with Microsoft. And so we'll see what else pops up.
Sounds like a good lineup. I'm definitely going to have to check out some of those events for sure. Let's focus a little bit on Jamaica now. I know we're talking about the entire Caribbean this entire time, but just a little bit on Jamaica since you're there. One thing I noticed, no offense, but like going to the rural parts, St. Elizabeth, like where my family is from, big up St. Bess. St. Bess, you know, when I go to St. Elizabeth, I'm not going to lie, I feel like I've gone back 20 years. Like, nothing has changed. Everything is the same. Everything looks the same. They don't change nothing about Sadie. I go to my grandmother's house. Sometimes she doesn't even watch the TV. She don't even turn the TV on. She just discovered WhatsApp and she loved. I was so amazed. My grandmother sends me voice notes now. I am so proud. So
I love that.
Yeah, I know. I'm so proud. She's come such a long way. She just used to just sit down, don't put on the TV, don't turn on, don't worry about nothing. Just sit down in the house and, you know, everything is, you know, because they're so, in St. Elizabeth, it's an area where they preserve their culture. They don't really like change that much. So which parts of Jamaica right now do you think are leading in innovation, changing things up? Obviously, Kingston. Obviously.
Clearly. It's Kingston. It's Kingston. That's by mere fact that this is where most people are, and this is, you know, where most of the events were happening anyway, and stuff like that. That said, Mandeville, which is, you know,
right? My other favorite place.
they call themselves Silicon Mountain, right?
Oh, really?
Absolutely. And talk about another startup. There are two guys there, Dwayne and Sean, who are co-founders of this startup called, oh my God, I cannot remember. I should tell you.
You're fine. We're going to put it in the show notes.
We're going to put it in the show notes. They were part of our Kingston Beta you know, event as well, and pitched there a number of times as well, and they came to a couple of other events. They came from Mandeville, and particularly from NCU University, where they had a fantastic program there, bright as hell.
I love it.
And also Joel, who had an initial startup, but he is now working for WordPress because he's a fantastic programmer. And so there are a group and a time where the Silicon Mountain was pumping out some fantastically brilliant individuals. Haven't checked upon them in a little bit, but everybody, of course, moved to Kingston because this is where the action is, right? So Kingston and a little bit of Mandeville. No.
Ooh, really? Not
Mobe. Mobe is BPO country. Mobe is
hotel industry. Touristy. Yeah.
So nah.
Yeah.
So Kingston. Yep, that's it. Pretty much.
You know, funny enough, I don't visit Kingston enough, but I'm going to change that this year. I'm going to visit Kingston more often. And I was born in Mandeville, so I got very excited. I went to DeCarteret College, the high school there. So I was but I left when I was.
You're a Jamaican man. What's up with that accent?
I know. My accent,
like it just touched down, man.
My accent ain't there, but I know my people. That's awesome. So, I mean, it seems to me that Jamaica still has so much room for innovation, though. And
no question,
especially when it comes to like shipping and things like that. I'm just trying to figure out, how can I get my grandmother something from Amazon one of these days and just send it straight to St. Elizabeth, because it's so hard to do. It's so hard to do.
Listen, it's funny enough you say that. The pandemic definitely pumped up a lot of demand for drop shippers, because everybody was, bringing in things from Amazon and eBay, but primarily, of course, 99.9 it's Amazon. So a lot of drop shippers, who they can send the stuff to the American address and they bring it here. The thing that is a massive deterrent is customs.
I was just about to say, that's the thing.
That's the place that needs some innovation. It needs to be set on fire and needs to start again.
Yeah, what's going on? I mean, can we just not get customs together?
Listen, customs, and people, of course, Jamaicans, they find workarounds. And we all know what those workarounds are. We will not say it on this podcast.
Well, I will say it. Okay. The problem is you got to pay people off to get what you need. It
doesn't the pay people off part. That's happening for a while. No, people just doctor their invoices. You didn't hear that from me. That's what I heard.
What?
Yeah, man. So that because they have a ridiculous allotment of, if it's over 50 US, then you're charged X amount. So I kid you not, people are like, if their item is $51.22, they're going to charge you a month. So people are like, come on now. Wait, so people there's lobbying for it to be increased to 500. The government is like, nope. But there's still a movement afoot for them to investigate the inconsistent practices that need some technology and innovation inside it. That would be fantastic, because it should be very easy for you to send it. Mm-hmm. Have the drop shippers bring it in, of course, for your grandma.
Yeah, how hard is that?
That's easy. The logistics part is easy. And that's but what is a deterrent is the bottleneck at the customs, because we have over 35 drop shippers in Jamaica just alone. So getting your stuff is easy. That's the bottleneck. The bottleneck is customs. So there is the one that needs some innovation.
If customs is
okay,
anything like exactly Honus, Mr. Honus, with my family's last name. It's interesting, very interesting right now. Yeah. Well, one of the things I've noticed is even with like Uber in Jamaica, how is that going?
I love it. You know what I mean? It's and I love to drive, right? But it's kind of cool to just park a car and just do your thing, because we don't have to think. But I started using, I think Uber they opened up, I think last year, February, and really kind of got going early summer, like around May, thereabout. And so it's been doing well. People have come and gone, just like with any other Uber ecosystem, but it's efficient. There's a different level of service as is expected. There's a different clientele that takes Uber as well. So it's working. Some people initially were saying, boy, the rates for the drivers were not as competitive because they wanted to get the riders in. Now the rate has gone up a little bit, but still below what pervades in the marketplace. And so it's working. I mean, I interview a lot of the drivers. Most of them are very happy. Some of them are just not very strategic about how they go about it. So they're like, boy, not working for me. I was like, do you have internet access?
Oh, man.
Do you have Google? Do you have YouTube?
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. How to make money from driving for Uber.
But I think, like any other country, like what we see is like the competition with the old school taxi drivers and then the new school taxi drivers. It's always that friction,
It is, but you
Yeah.
see, listen to me. I didn't really take. I didn't. I mean, I had a car, so the old school taxi drivers, no. Um, the new school taxi drivers, yes, because again, it's a certain kind of car. You don't have to be quarreling about having the air conditioning on. It's usually clean. So they have a certain criteria that they have to meet. What it has done is that for some people who are the regular taxi guys, they have now brought up their service. So they no longer, well, there's still a lot more room to grow, but the ones that are certain taxi people are now, taxi associations, taxi services are now, they're not using an app, but they may pump to you WhatsApp, this person is coming for you, this is the license plate, no, this is how much you're going to pay, etc., as a sort of a step forward to be somewhere Uber adjacent in terms of how they service their clients. So the regular taxi ecosystem is trying to up its game to match the expectations of an Uber customer. So we'll see how it hashes out this year, but I like it, and I know a lot of people are like it. There are people who just simply park their car and just hop in an Uber to go to the supermarket or to go to yoga. So yeah.
It really is efficient when you are
It is.
trying to get from place to place. So that's good. I'm glad it's working out. Maybe I'll try Uber when I come there.
You should.
Instead of my uncle and him yelling at me everywhere, telling me to be careful. That's all he sees. He's like, be careful. Anyway.
If you can drive in New York or Boston, you can drive in Kingston and Jamaica.
Except the opposite side of the street, I would agree with you.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that. Well, you guys drive on the wrong side in America. I can't help you.
Well, lastly, Ingrid, real quick, the content creation in the Caribbean in general is creating new wealth. I love to see it. I love all these new YouTubers from all over the Caribbean that are making money from all over the place now. They can make money in America sitting right there in their living room. Yes. So what are you seeing with content creation and how the internet has become a powerful tool in connecting us?
I just believe that we're still not even creating enough content in my estimation. I believe that there's always been a hunger for Caribbean stories or Caribbean content of all kinds. And I'm very happy to see that there are a lot more people who are doing it on TikTok, YouTube, where, their own blogs or whatever. There's just a lot more. And the market will let you know whether or not it's good or not by, how much it pays attention to you or how much it actually pays you. But and then of course the NFT market just have come somewhat just like, and this year is going to be the year of the NFT, let me tell you. And globally and definitely in the region as well, because we also have a lot to offer. And so I'm happy that there is the technology and access to this technology is doing its job, which is to enable us all to do better and live better and contribute to whatever we want to contribute to. So I believe that we'll definitely see a lot more content coming out this year in all forms. And I am happy that the technology is enabling our creatives in the region to make money and to make money consistently and to make what I call big money, and so they have options outside of their own countries. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with the technology this year. But the world craves our content, and we should give it to them.
Yeah, I mean, how many people do you think are becoming wealthy from some of these apps? Just Instagram, YouTube,
TikTok. The ones who talk about it, they're definitely doing well, and you can see the trajectory of people like Quiet Perry, and seeing people seeing YouTubers that create like a this, I think it's called The Fix. It's a little bit too for me, but The Fix is almost like a Jamaican version of, Charlemagne the God's The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, love that show. Yeah.
Right?
Well,
yes.
You can't admit that out loud because people, not everybody loves it. But it's a great show, to be honest. It's produced.
There you go.
It's very well.
There you go. So so there are a couple of people who are definitely making money and then figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what is happening too, what I see happening is that the ones who are being successful are helping the others who are curious and want to know and that kind of thing. So there's a nice community thing going on. So I can just anticipate that because we are spending a lot more time online and people have to find fresh ways of making money and taking themselves into different areas. We're going to just see a lot more. So I'm excited to see. I mean, some of them I may not like, but they're not for me. So
not everybody's our cup of tea.
Not for some people.
Yeah, not everybody's gonna be our cup of tea. It's okay.
Exactly, and that's quite okay. That's a perfect thing, actually.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Ingrid. This was a great conversation. I really appreciate you doing this. And if you can just plug yourself, let people know where to find you so they can continue following this conversation, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. To keep a track of what's popping, going on with Caribbean tech, definitely go to SiliconCaribe.com. That's our blog. And, go to Spotify and you'll see a fantastic backlog of Silicon Caribe podcast with a whole bunch of interviews with Caribbean tech entrepreneurs. Personally, you can follow Silicon Caribe on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. And me, Ingrid Riley, at Twitter. That's where I am pretty much spending most of the time starting fast and doing some things. So yeah, happy to connect there.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. I could go on and on and on with this conversation because I love it. I think there's so much innovation that still needs to happen in the Caribbean, and I'm glad to see that you're tracking it. So have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anna-Lysa. It's a pleasure.
No problem.
Thanks for checking out this month's episode of The Analysis. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a rating anywhere you get your podcast. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, see you then.